Everybody, this is Eric Anderson, the Executive Director of SIMSUP. You all know who Eric is.
I've been here and over here too. There's people over here and over there.
Yeah, so we gotta
It's a
look at
big
both
crowd,
cameras.
folks. We're all over the world today.
So here we are at the Saskatchewan Mining Supply Chain Forum. We're at the end of the show. It ends in a couple hours. So I grabbed Eric for a few minutes. We want to talk about what happened at the show, what's been interesting, what's been exciting. So Eric, what's your takeaways? What was the best part of the show?
The best part of the show is that it happened.
Yeah.
We've missed a couple of years. Did it virtually, which is great. It's a lot better than nothing.
Yeah,
but
it
it's
was still
yeah. So this year we managed to pull it off. We've had over 1,000 tickets sold. We had well over 200, probably 300 mining persons here.
Yep.
And 240-ish
Booths.
And the booth's a little lower than normal, but that's because you can't really tell that here, folks, but these are one-way aisles this year because we had to limit congestion. So what we did is we went with one-way aisles. All the booths face one way. There's 6 feet between each booth to make some space. And then the events we had in person, but also streaming at the same time to limit the congestion in the main room.
So lots of people have said they liked the one-way aisles. I'm not a one-way aisle fan. I prefer the mall experience where you can yell at the people on the other side.
Are you one of those anti-aislers?
Yeah, exactly.
I thought we hit everything, but you have an anti-one-way ailer.
Yeah, exactly. But the one nice thing about it is the flow has actually been excellent. Like we've seen a lot of people come by the booth. There's lots. You notice all the little draw bowls. There's lots of cards in the draw bowls.
And I'm looking right now. I can see some people from Nutrien having a conversation with some suppliers. Everybody's here.
Yeah, like Nutrien, BHP, Cameco. They all had booths. Really accessible. You could walk up to VPs at those companies and talk to them.
Like at BHP's booth, that Michelle Gardner, who's the boss buyer for BHP Canada, and then Clint Remsey, from Hatch Bantrel. There's the people that people wanted to talk to were actually in the booth.
These are the people we have a hard time getting hold of on a regular basis.
There's Andrea Wacker from Nutrien over there walking along.
Andrea.
We're just doing an interview here. Don't mind us. We're doing an interview. Do you want to come join us?
You're doing just fine.
Okay, we're sure? Okay. Sorry, folks. That's what happens at this event is people interrupt us. They walk by and they cut us off, but it's that busy.
Yeah. Well, the neat part is there's Karen Siegfried, who I've never met in person, but I've emailed all the time. It's nice to meet you, Karen.
Yeah. We should be networking right now.
We are.
We are.
We're on the network.
Well, I don't. It's been years, I think, since that we've probably chatted. Probably don't even remember.
Yeah. It has been a long time. Yeah. You guys will have to come for another shop tour. It's time to get some more of your folks to the shop. Yeah.
Now that everything's opened up,
Yep.
so it's time we get ourselves out.
Yeah, exactly. Awesome.
So, folks, and so that's an example of the show, right? We're here having a chat, and some of the purchasing people from Nutrien are walking by chatting with you, and that's the way it goes.
Yeah,
so,
and you know what? That's the beauty of Saskatchewan too,
Yeah.
because this same thing can happen in a restaurant in downtown Saskatoon. The supplier community, we're a small enough group that we all know each other, we all live close to each other, and we do things outside of work as well.
And so, it's one of the good things about doing an event in person versus virtually is this ability to just talk to people randomly.
Yeah.
And it's those little conversations. How are you doing? Things to move things along so that when later you have a phone call, you can kind of cut to the chase a bit and it's a little better. The neatest thing, and then I've heard the story a lot. I've met so many people virtually over the past couple of years that I've never met in person.
Yeah.
And they're either taller or shorter than you thought.
Yeah, no kidding.
Like there's people that walk up and go, wow, you're a lot taller than I thought. Or hi, you're down there,
Yeah.
But it's been neat.
Well, and we're all doing the really weird, awkward, like you kind of walk by and you sort of look at the badge, but you don't want to look at the person's belly button.
Well, yeah, and you're trying to meet people and you're going, why do I know her? And you're going, oh, wait a minute. Oh,
Yeah. Totally. Okay, so technical stuff, news. Tell me about the presentations here. What really stood out in the last 2 days of content?
So Grant Isaac did this presentation this morning.
Yeah, that was great.
Grant, the problem is Grant can't read. I don't know if you know that. He had to do his entire presentation from memory.
He did a great job.
He was phenomenal. The guy, that's just irritating.
Yeah.
He's so good. He gets up there and he's got 4 slides in his deck or 5. I can't even count. I'm holding it.
And he told that whole story on those on those 5 pictures.
And he told the entire story of the what's going on in the nuclear sector right now, especially given events in Russia and Ukraine. And he just stitches it all together. And what does that imply for Saskatchewan? That was huge. I was sitting there beside one of the VPs of Sask Power, and he was going, "Wow, I just learned everything I needed to know."
Yeah.
And there was that much content. And then you switch over to followed by Josh Dodd at Nutrien, and he speaks to what what they're doing and their plans are. I co-hosted yesterday an ESG panel with Nutrien, BHP, and Cameco, which was really neat because it had the Nutrien sent the senior director of the ESG piece. So he's talking more from the corporate kind of aspirational kind of stuff, where they're going.
Talking to investors, talking to shareholders. Yeah.
But BHP sent the boss buyer for Canada, which then became, well, what are we doing in procurement though? Because it's a different thing. Like one's where we want to be, but one's where we are.
Right.
And then you have over here though, you have Cameco, who's in a completely different, like you've got an agricultural company. You've got a company that had a gargantuan carbon footprint, one of the world's largest coal and oil producers.
And is mining focused.
Yeah, and transitioning out of the oil piece and coal. And then over here, you've got Cameco, which is like a nuclear fuel company, which is about as green as you can get.
Yeah, totally.
And kind of the comparison of where they're all at. It was an amazing session. I did a big session this afternoon on SMRs. It was a couple hours that we're heavily involved in as an association. Yeah, it's been great.
Okay, so I think the themes that really jumped out for me, like the SMR stuff really, and the nuclear stuff in general really jumped out for me. Obviously there was a ton of stuff as well on inclusion. It's Indigenous Peoples Day today. So in that space, what popped out for you?
So I have just been working with SIMSA. We've been helping to stand up the Indigenous Manufacturing and Contracting Network.
You're kidding.
Really? I think you're involved. Anyway, so we get this thing stood up, and today was an opportunity to kind of launch that out publicly, right? And then as that gets its feet underneath it, namely Nick, I can back away, and SIMSA backs away more, and we become more of a, as a resource.
Yeah.
But I was excited about the potential for this event, because imagine if, next year, IMCN is facilitating the Indigenous roundtable part. SIMSA has the trade show. We've got the owners and that showing up to do the procurement talks like they always do. This gets stronger and stronger.
And I think and that's one of the reasons SIMSA was excited about standing up the IMNCN was there's only so much SIMSA can do giving manpower, but also focus in the ability where at some point you start to contradict yourself.
Yeah.
And so the IMNCN is an opportunity for a group to focus specifically on a set of issues and with a certain focus and do a better job of it.
Yeah.
They can do a better job, and they have time to do it.
And this is a job that the owners are asking industry to do.
The people wanting to sponsor that group are huge.
Yeah.
So it's a great event. So that was another great one.
Capacity. So lots of people have talked about shortage of humans, shortage of equipment, shortage. Did we learn anything here about capacity in the province?
Well, so I talked to some people from immigration, the government of Saskatchewan, and getting some update on that. We're working with them on trying to put together maybe some kind of a job fair in other countries to get that going. So we talked to those people some more and forwarded that along. And, we're talking there's an immigration company over here, Immigrate Biz, I think is their website. They're here trying to help companies source employees from other countries.
Yeah, because we're not gonna get all the people we need out of Saskatchewan.
No, and we've got. The thing is there's more jobs than we have people left over.
Yeah.
Period. There's just more jobs than people. So what do? You can't. And we need these people today and tomorrow. So we have to have the short-term strategies. You bring people in from somewhere else. The long-term strategy is you train up every last person that's left here, get them prepared.
And we still need more people.
Well,
so the one thing that really crosses my mind is we've done a really good job of getting the mining companies and getting people who are developing projects in the province to source locally, to buy from local, fab shops like us. Now, fab shops like us have to step up and actually find the humans to do that work.
Yeah, it's great to make targets and things, but it's pulling it off is another thing. And the one thing, like Michelle at BHP talked about in our panel yesterday, was her bonus is tied to her ability to get 40% women in her group.
Oh, wow.
Like, that's pretty clear.
Yeah.
Like the priority for her just became pretty serious.
Yeah.
But it's that kind of moves it up the critical level, right? And that's kind of a neat thing to show how companies are taking it seriously. I mean, it's kind of like a few years ago when Nutrien rolled out the Aboriginal playbook.
Right.
You know, they said we needed 30% Aboriginal content in the supply chain by a certain year. Well, there was a collective gasp across the supply chain when they said that. It was like, whoa.
Yeah, that's impossible. It'll never happen.
And so, but then what they did is that at the same time, they stepped up and went, and here's how we're going to help you do it. Mm-hmm. And here's all the resources, and here's everything you need. And they pulled it off, like training and helping and getting.
Well, yeah, that was part of the update today was how they'd gotten there and now where they want to go beyond that.
And so they made a target, scared some people. It was kind of lofty, but they pulled it off and they worked through it and it worked out. And, you know, so BHP is doing something similar now. You know, it's setting lofty targets and going for it. It's an important thing.
Okay, so next week. So the show ends. We've got the rest of this week. What are you looking for in the next weeks, months, quarters? What are you expecting out of the mining industry? Is this just more of capacity building and more of getting ready for a million new projects in the province? And
well, we've got so BHP is moving up their timeline in Jansen by a year, and stage 2 earlier as well. They haven't clarified that yet. So there's work there, like a lot, billions. Nutrien announced the capacity expansion from 14 million to 15 million tons earlier in the year. Now they're going from 15 to 18. So there's a lot of work.
Yep.
You know, Mosaic and NextGen today announced they're going to double their capacity targets, like from 250 to 500,000.
So there's news.
Oh, there was news. I usually stay on top of my news feeds, but today I was like trying to run a show and attend a show at the same time. It's kind of hard. You get kind of busy. And then people drag them into their trade show booths to do interviews. It's just ridiculous. Don't ever do this. Anyway, no, it works out good. So yeah, there's stuff coming. There's all kinds of things coming down the pipe. And now the SMR sector, I mean, there's billions of dollars of spending coming down the pipe.
I think the Cameco talk today really, like we've known it was there, but that really crystallized for me how big this could be. Well, it really surprised me.
And when you start realizing Canada is the first place on earth to start doing this.
Yeah.
And then what does that mean? Well, wait a minute. We have the ability as a country to corner a market on a technology. Think about this. What if Canada managed to corner the coal production plant or the natural gas plant or the wind turbine?
This is the equivalent.
This is it. We have the ability to corner it. And we can not just the manufacturing of the unit, but the fuel supply.
Yeah.
I mean, that's huge.
It's like cornering the car and the gas you put in the car.
Yeah. We have that ability right now. Now, we're not going to do it, obviously. I mean, I think it might actually be illegal, but we can get a big chunk of it. Yeah. And it's billions. I mean, there's over 1,100 SMRs needed globally to replace the coal plants. And then everybody wants to make their cars electric. Well, wait a minute. Now we got to replace all the fuel.
Right.
Like with something. And that's got to be, there we are. It's going to be busy.
So call to action. If you're interested in Saskatchewan, there's lots of suppliers here at the show that aren't yet SIMSA members. Yeah. So they should get...
But there's fewer.
They're joining. But so anybody who's not joined SIMSA yet, you should get an operation, get equipment and get humans here in Saskatchewan so that you can join SIMSA to be part of that. Yeah, and if you're looking for work and you're thinking about moving somewhere, Saskatchewan's a great place to find work.
Yeah, so our association is the only one that requires its members to actually have a permanent physical office in the province and employees. You actually have to be here. And because of that, we're one of the key vets for local for the Jansen Potash project. So if you want to be a vendor for Jansen, you got to basically be on our member database. You got to be on a member, and we're working that out with some other companies. And that database is the same thing that is working the core of the MOUs we signed with GE Hitachi on the SMR front and with the Organization of Canadian Nuclear Industries for rolling out the training of nuclear accreditations and such like.
So belonging to SIMSA is pretty important.
Yeah, and there's events like this, you get first crack at tickets and sponsorships if you're here, right? So.
Awesome. Well, thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you for doing this. I appreciate it.
It's been fun. Thank you.